Hey, what's up? How you doing? Good. You got time for an interview?
What's up, brother?
Do you have time for an interview?
Sure.
Okay. You want some water?
Sure.
I got ice water here. Get you a cold one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How far did you run?
Maybe 3 miles.
3 miles?
Yeah.
That's good. You run the whole way?
Not the whole way, half the way, man. So I think that...
Which half? Like, do you walk for a quarter of it, run half of
Let me
it?
show you around here where I run. I don't know the names. I've been coming out here for a while, so I don't know the names. Entry trail.
Skip to the 2-minute, 53-second mark if you want to get right to the discussion.
Then I go Vista Loop all the way around, and
Holy
I get
shit.
back Main on here, and I come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you always go the same path?
Yeah, well, sometimes I like to switch it up, but for the most part, man, I keep it pretty consistent.
Well, sure. I guess, if you know the trail really well, then you could maybe go faster. Like, this is the point where I need to slow down, or this is where I can speed up.
Yeah. I like
stuff.
to do that. Yeah, like slow down and then just take off.
Yeah.
It feels good, man.
That's good. I don't know if have you seen me out here before? No, you haven't? Mm-mm. Okay, I've been here quite a bit. But I'm practicing this thing called Street Epistemology.
Yeah.
And it's a way of taking a claim that you think is true. So, like, you think ghosts are real, or you think that so-and-so is the best political candidate, or so-and-so is the worst, or you think God is real, or karma is real, anything like that. And I like to set a timer just for a short amount of time and ask questions to see how you could be so sure. What steps did you use to get to a high degree of confidence that it's true?
Right.
Do you want to do a little interview?
Sure, man.
Can we face this way to in the shade? What's your first name?
Peter.
I'm Anthony.
Peter, nice to meet you, Anthony.
Very nice to meet you too, man. Are you okay if I record it?
No, that's cool.
Okay. At the end of the talk, if you don't want me to use it, just let me know.
Yeah.
I have a second camera that I want to stick up there to point down at me.
Cool.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to just
do your thing, bro.
do my thing.
Yes, sir.
How much?
You're out here to do, right?
Well, kind of. I've actually been out here for I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And
a couple of those?
I've had a couple of interviews, but nothing really of interest. It's actually better when somebody picks a topic that they think it's so true, they behave differently because they're so sure that it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everything happens for a reason. Karma, God, your stance on some political view or whatever.
Consciousness.
Anything. And I like to, like I said, I like to ask questions to figure out how you could be so sure.
Yeah.
Did anything sort of jump in your mind as like a topic that we can talk about for a few minutes? And I'll ask questions. I'm not going to argue with you about it or anything.
Yeah. Trying to maybe... consciousness is what animates our body.
Consciousness is what animates our body.
So we are more than our body.
We're more than our body.
More than the mind. The force behind the mind.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Can consciousness exist outside of the human body?
Yes, consciousness is in everything.
There's a rock right behind you. Is consciousness in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is alive. Well, it may seem like, if you look at a molecule, if you look at the rock's composition, it's actually vibrating. It looks solid to us, but actually deep down, at a deep level, it's super flickering almost. It's a vibration. It's at a certain frequency. That's why it looks like it's solid to us. We're at a different frequency. That's why we're fluid. We can move and stuff like that.
Okay. What is your definition of the word alive?
Alive?
Yeah. If something is alive, what does that word mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah, to you. Like, I'm really curious what your definition of that word is.
Yeah.
If it's similar to what we might find in a dictionary, or if it's actually different.
It's alive. I mean, it's moving. It's evolving. It's alive. It's got a consciousness.
In your view, if an object has the ability to move and vibrate, it meets the definition of alive.
Not necessarily. The only thing that makes it alive is that it moves. It's a deeper level, and words, we can only explain that with words to a certain extent, and then after that we're at a loss for words, where our minds can't comprehend it. It's deeper than like even our minds, because we're only like here, say, and then the deepness is like, or depending on how you look at it. So my way of looking at anything as alive is it's full of consciousness, it's full of it moves, it vibrates, it's alive, and that's the only way I could put it. It's alive.
I have a feeling we could probably spend all 4 minutes just talking about what you mean by that word. Are you saying that we have a lot of kids coming, so it's going to get noisy here?
That's okay. Yeah, good.
Actually, sometimes a break like this could actually help us figure out where we're going with this talk too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like what you're saying is that this hypothesis that you have that everything is alive transcends our ability to even describe it. Like it's so complicated, we would actually have a hard time describing what we're saying.
Yes, or so simple, and because we make things so complicated, we can't comprehend it. Because we try to understand it with our minds, we can't just sit and feel it, and really, like dogs and cats and animals and trees, you just kind of sit there and you feel something that you can't understand, but it's there if you allow yourself to become still with it, to get on the level of the dog. You know?
So like that rock over there, are you telling me like you could just sit here and stare at that rock, and then there's something actually going on?
Not necessarily stare at it, but maybe just sit on it, you know? Maybe just come here and kind of just sit on it, be with it, sit here for maybe like a couple minutes, maybe 30, maybe 2, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And just sit here and just feel it, and then get on, kind of try to match the frequency so you feel it. And then you realize everything is part of each other. Everything is together. Like this rock is a part of the ground, and the ground is a part of where we came. And so, and that's how I feel it.
Do you actually have to be interacting with an object like you are right now, where you're physically sitting on it or touching it or looking at it or something?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So you could just let it come into your, you know, kind of get your consciousness. What animates you is the same consciousness that animates this, but it's just at a different frequency. So it's manifesting as a different thing. So it's like you let your consciousness merge with the rock's consciousness. The energy, easier, the vibe, you know, and then after.
Hi. Yeah.
And you know, and it looks like it's dead to the eye. It's like the other day when I was looking out my window, and I don't have my polarized glasses, and I have window tint, and I look out my window, and then I put on my polarized glasses and I look out the window, and it's a rainbow. It's invisible, like, and I have to have almost my shades of my stillness to feel the rock, or you know, as I have to have my polarized glasses to see the rainbow in my window tint, you know, because it's polarized.
Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. What I'm curious is, how are you actually concluding that this is real and true?
It's felt more than understood.
Could you be feeling something and coming to a conclusion that it's really true and it not really be true?
Well, it's like when you feel love. You can't see it, but you know that it's true for you. So maybe we make our own reality. Maybe it's true for me. Maybe for you, it may not. Or for maybe for me, you know, 3 years ago, it may not be true.
Let's say I said, you know, I've really heard what you said.
Yes.
And I'm attempting to interact with the rock and think that it's alive and that it has consciousness and all this stuff. And it's my feeling that that's actually not the case. A completely different hypothesis than you, but we're both using feelings to arrive at different conclusions.
Yes.
Do you think feelings are the best way to figure out that this hypothesis that you have is actually real and true in reality?
Feelings themselves
Do you follow me? Like, if I'm using feelings and I'm like, no, that's just not happening, and you're using feelings and you're like, yes, absolutely, I'm interacting with this rock and I can feel the consciousness and all this stuff. If we're both using feelings, but coming to completely and contradictory conclusions, we got more kids coming.
Yes, that's awesome. That's okay.
What does that say about feelings for coming to...
Well, emotions are just emotions. You can try to understand something through emotions, and that's how I do it, but it's not the only way. You have to really... And it's a mind object, a feeling. I mean... I have another question for you. You know? And I'm still trying to explain it to myself.
Yeah.
But it's something that is... that I feel, you know, so I've heard... And I've...
the kids are standing on your rock.
They probably feel the good energy off it.
What if we were to? We're not going to do this, but if we pulled all those kids and they're like, not really feeling anything here. How can we distinguish whether this is a hypothesis that you're creating in your mind and something that's actually real and true in reality?
Reality is what you make it.
Okay.
So, and I'm maybe going back to, maybe you make your own reality. Maybe what's true for you may not be true for me, and vice versa, because we have different belief systems and preconditioned mind sets. And maybe we have, maybe the way that we use our mind filter to see out the world, and it makes that true for us.
Do you think that you and I right now, and all those kids, are sharing the same reality?
At the same time as we're not. Because what I may see as purple, you may see as green, but we're all here at the same time. We all understand it. We all here. We all share the same reality, but different versions of it.
Just a while ago, there were kids standing on the rock and around the rock.
Yes.
If we were to, and there's actually more kids coming now.
Yes.
Okay, we got a bunch of kids coming.
Yes.
If you and I counted up the number of kids that are walking by, and we came up with 12. And you say that there's 12, I say that there's 12. Everyone involved here says that there's 12. If I said, you know what, there's actually 13, but it's demonstrable that there's 12 there.
Like it's absolutely, everybody agrees.
We count them up and there's 12.
Yes.
But I'm like, no, 13. Are you saying that I would be just as correct with my stating that there's 13 as everyone else that says that there's 12?
Sure. I mean, maybe you have a condition that makes you have an invisible friend that you count as 13. Maybe that's true for you.
You would give me a pass on saying, no, there's 13.
Sure. I mean, I would agree with your reality. I would agree with your opinion almost of how many kids there are. I wouldn't, you know?
How far are you willing to let me run with that? Like if I said, we need to sacrifice one of those kids on that rock to prevent an earthquake from destroying San Francisco.
Well, then that would kind of go into my reality.
Would you stop me from laying one of those kids down on that rock?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe not the invisible one.
You let me run with that one.
That's okay.
Okay.
But not the kids that we both agree on. Maybe not, because that would go against my preconditioned beliefs and what I stand for in this world.
So there are some limitations with how far you'll let somebody go with their view that what's true to them is actually true in reality.
If you want to put it like that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with your
Is the sun in your eyes? We can pivot a little bit.
No, I would agree with your reality and what you choose to, but if it's coming into what I but believe in as well, and it goes against hurting the kid, suffering, maybe I'm not,
Are you telling me that the only way that it would ruffle your feathers is if it impacted you in some way? Like you'd be okay with me believing anything I wanted, even things that were not true in our reality, our shared reality, as long as it didn't affect you?
or the common good, of the planet, of the world, of the evolution of consciousness. So you take in that kid, actually in physical reality, would maybe harm like the consciousness of the planet. Maybe that kid could become great, and it could help humanity.
Okay.
It could, in some way, it could even, put.
Let's say it had no impact on you whatsoever. It had no impact on you whatsoever.
Yeah.
You'd still be a little bit concerned about my actions and my perception of reality, because it could actually harm other humans.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
It wouldn't affect me any, but I mean, it would maybe harm like everybody around us, and I'm all about others as well, not me.
One last question.
Yes.
If it could be shown to your satisfaction that your hypothesis that everything is alive and you're interacting with objects like rocks and that type of thing, if it could be shown that your hypothesis is actually harmful, perhaps to you or to other people who are in this reality, would you take a second look at your hypothesis?
Sure. Yeah. I would absolutely would. Yeah. I mean, there's only one. In my opinion, there's only one true reality. No matter how many ways you look at it, you go back to it. So even if I maybe reconsider what I'm saying, maybe it'll come back to me in a different way, in a different sense. Maybe I'll understand it deeper. Maybe I'll be able to take it in more. I'll be able to merge with it better and be able to understand that just a little bit better. And try to become a little more still.
Would it be disappointing to you in any way if you were to discover that these objects really aren't alive as you've defined them, that they're not full of consciousness, that these are really just inanimate objects? Like, how would that affect your outlook on life if you were to change your view on that?
It's just a point of view. To me, I mean, it would be just a point of view.
Would it sadden you? Would it disappoint you? Would life be any different if you were to?
To me, it's an unmistakable reality. I mean, it couldn't. There's nothing.
That wasn't quite my question, though. I'm kind of wondering, how would your life be any different if you were to think about this conversation? And,
okay. And I knew for a fact that everything was dead, or maybe the rock was dead.
Let's say in 6 months you come around, you're like, I'm not really sure rocks and inanimate objects are vibrating and moving, and they actually have consciousness and they're alive.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is, how would this change your outlook? Would your life be any worse, any better?
I think it would be worse. So. Because wouldn't feel the connection that I'm feeling to you now, as I'm feeling to the rock.
You'd be missing out on connections with objects like rocks.
Yeah, I would be, in fact, missing out on my interactions with people, because when I connect to the rock, I can then take that, and I can sit here and I can bring that stillness into our conversation, and I don't have to have my mind. I can just be here, present in this moment.
Are you telling me that your hypothesis that objects like rocks have consciousness and energy and they vibrate is actually allowing you to have better interactions with human beings?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I believe so, because it's helping me to become more still, and by being more still, I can kind of shrink the me, and I can focus on us together. And united we stand. That's what America stands for. And for me, it's that. So I'd be very sad if I came to a conclusion in 6 months that they really don't vibrate, and the trees aren't alive, and the concrete underneath us, even though it's man-made, is not alive. Because it would make my life a little sadder, a little more vibrant, a little less vibrant. Yeah, it would kind of be like, How would I think this is a wonderful interaction that we're both having. Absolutely. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, man, me too. What I'm wondering, though, is how would that discovery that these objects really aren't alive cheapen this moment that we're having right now, or any other future interactions that you might have with humans? Maybe it wouldn't, but maybe. So it's like this makes this real. This moment is very real, and it's here now, and nothing that can change that. But when we project into the future, when I say tomorrow this is going to happen, and I'm not going to look at these rocks as vibrating and everything is alive, then it changes. Then we're bringing the future into this moment, and then where it changes.
Are you saying it's difficult to entertain what the future might be like if you didn't have this view? Is that what you're saying, or something else?
Well, I'm saying...
Is it hard for you to imagine it? Is it hard for you to imagine what your interactions with other people might be like if you didn't think that?
Well, I've been there. My whole life I felt kind of detached. And once I came into kind of the realization that everything's alive, and that I'm standing in front of another human being, and we're like the same. We seem so different, but yet we're the same. And that's where how I feel it, understand it.
There was a point in your life where you didn't have this view that that objects like rocks have consciousness.
Absolutely. Most of my life I didn't. Most of my life I haven't.
How did you form it? How did you form this view?
Meditation.
Is this a view that you've came up with on your own? Did you hear somebody? Did you discover that this really is the case? I'm kind of curious how you formed it.
So, I mean, I've read books on it. I've read and that modern science now looks at that molecule so deep down and looks at it's actually not, there's a little space in between. So when you look at the rock, it's actually more free space than it is solid object. So there's in between the molecules, it's free space. What is that? And anyway, what binds those molecules together?
And it seems like you're going further by saying that object actually has consciousness, is vibrating.
Maybe that's what holds those little molecules together, like our molecules. What is it, that does that? What is it that animates my
That's a great question.
I ask questions like that because it interests me, and I don't still have the answer to none of these questions, but it's interesting to me. And by asking these questions, I go one step further to connect to you. I leave the me behind. I came here with a me. Now I'm talking to you. Now we're we. Now I can really open up, and I can connect with you, man.
And I love your honesty and your comfortableness on this topic with a complete stranger. That's awesome. Yeah. I do have one more question.
Yeah.
I actually have to get going, but
right on, brother. Yeah.
I'm wondering about the value that you place on that rock and me standing here in front of you. Are we equally as important to you? Am I more important than the rock? Is the rock more important than me?
Well, I can't interact with the rock as much as I can interact with you because we're more on the same frequency. The rock is still alive. It's got consciousness that is at a different frequency to me, and I can get the stillness from it. And I can get the stillness from you as well. But it's just, I mean, you're more important to me than the rock. I think, for me, because it's just different frequencies, and I can interact with you maybe more than I can with the rock. I can still interact with the rock some, but not to certain only to a certain extent. To me, we can share ideas. We can contribute to each other's points of view. We can make the world a better place, and stuff like that. And the rock is just sitting there, still alive, and it's just like it. It's just at a different frequency. It's just at a different, vibe. It's got a different vibe, so.
Okay. Well, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to give you a card.
Yeah, dude. Fuck,
and if you come to the trail a lot and you see me out here again, I'd love to have another conversation.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
There's my card. And this is a magnet that says Street Epistemology on it. Bro. So you can look into more what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
That's the first time I've heard of that, Brian. I'm going to look it up, dude. And so.
Is this the first time that you've discussed this view that you have with somebody?
As deep detail, maybe, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had talks with friends, but people that don't ask questions like you have. They don't really, and it's like challenging me. Ooh, how do you see that? And so I'm answering questions of myself now when you're asking me questions. So it's like, cool. I appreciate you, man.
That's the deal.
Yeah. Dude,
all right.
Thank you so much, man.
That was really cool. My name's Anthony, and I hope to see you around, Peter.
Anthony, yeah, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good to see you. Thanks for the water, man. Yeah.
You want another one? I'm about ready to go.
Good. Actually, I have one in my car.
Okay.
It's good to meet you, Anthony. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
All right.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya.
Hello, Anthony. It's Peter from the park. I just wanted to say I hope I helped with your research, and if there's anything else I can do to further help your studies, let me know, as I'd love to do it. We need more people like you in our world. Thank you.
When you pray, you think you're actually praying to a God.
I do. The God.
The God. Yeah.
More than one.
The God, yeah. Well, we've hit our 5-minute mark. Okay. I don't feel like we made too much progress, but I did enjoy talking with you.
Sorry I didn't help you out there.
That's okay. That's okay. If you want, we can spend a couple more minutes chatting about it.
Whatever you want to do.
Cool. Let's do it.